folks who work with our kids, the majority of them are returning tutors. So we have a core group of tutors who they feel this is their calling, and so they serve semester after semester, year after year, and they get a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment out of that. They build relationships with the kids, and that keeps them coming back. Many of them have served kids when they first came in at first grade or even second grade, and they get to walk with these kids all the way through elementary, middle school, and high school, and see these kids graduate from high school. So we do have a large group of tutors who stick around year after year, but there's always recruiting new folks to come in, because I mean, we just can't have enough volunteers helping these kids. There's so much need in this specific area that we're just always looking for people to pour into our kids. Many of the core group, they do mentor the kids, and they'll meet with, now everybody doesn't feel so comfortable with like off-site kind of mentoring. We encourage that through communication with me and communication with the parents as well, so that everybody's on the same page and we all know what's going on. But there is some mentoring that happens on site with the kids, where there's more conversation about just life skills and the next opportunities that they are going to be presented with, navigating tough and challenging situations, thinking through college admission, and I mean, financial assistance, all kinds of things. And we spend a lot of time talking about scripture and about our relationship with God as well. Not everyone who serves with us, all of the mentors, not all of them are members of our church, number one. And secondly, not all of them are believers in Christ. And neither of those things are a requirement for serving our kids. They have a love for kids and for helping kids. That's huge. And they have the skill set to do that. And so their primary responsibilities are assisting kids academically. And then because just naturally they build relationships with these kids. If you've worked with kids in any capacity, you know how transparent kids can be. And so they open up, they share a lot about their lives, what they're interested in, what's going on at home. And so that creates a natural pathway for some of these deeper conversations and more organic mentoring to happen within our ministry. Shortly after I took on this role, I developed an application for our mentors. And so we do background checks, but we didn't have an application process. And so this application really helps me to get an understanding of the mentor's interests. So are you more interested in working with elementary kids, middle school, or high school kids? What kind of skills do you have that you think would be beneficial in our program? So maybe one of my mentors is an engineer, and I have a kid who's interested in engineering. Well, that's a natural fit, right? So this application helps me to see, oh, this is what you're skilled at. I have some kids who are interested in that. I'll put you together with them, and then it's just a natural fit, and everybody can kind of work together and build relationships there. Or maybe the tutor, like I have a tutor right now who is an educator. She works in Hong Kong most of the time, teaching teachers how to teach students language, English, and different things like that. And so we'll be using her at some point to help train our tutors and even to talk to parents about how to work with their kids on their academics. So the application process really helps me to get a gauge an inside look at the people who are mentoring with us. It also helps me to kind of weed out some people who may pass the background check, honestly. I've had to do this before. The application allows me to schedule an on-site meeting so I'll usually take folks to coffee and just get deeper into their interest and their lives and kind of their background. And then I'm able to better pair them with the student or decide if maybe we need to part ways right here. And fortunately, I've had to do that in the past, thankfully through this application process, where it was just pretty obvious the person was not going to be a good fit for us. Actually, there are a few concerns. It may have been even a danger to our kids. So I was able to cut that off before it ever got rolling. There is an application for the student. So the parents will fill that out and then they'll give that back to me. So I have an online one that I can send out a link to parents, but also I will bring applications over to the school and they fill those out, and then I can talk with the parents and I do find out more about the student, what's going on with them, what are their academic needs, what are their challenges. One of the things I asked, and I just learned this probably about 5 years ago, that I needed to ask this question, and it's about behavioral challenges, I guess. So if there's any kind of ADHD, bipolar, any kind of autism, then I just need to be aware of that, because depending on the severity of it, we may or may not be able to assist those kids. Unfortunately, we don't have folks who are qualified or certified to work with students with severe autism or behavioral challenges. And so I will try to direct the parents toward a different resource if their kid is not a good fit for our program. And I hate to do that because, but I understand that it's necessary, because I don't want to get those kids in here and they stress out the tutor or the kids not getting the help they need. But I hate to do it because those families are already oftentimes made to feel like they're outcasts because their kid has these sorts of challenges. So I try to do my best to kind of cushion that rejection with some grace and compassion. So recruiting the students it takes a lot less work. It takes less work to recruit the students who are going to be a part of our program than the volunteers who are going to come in and assist these kids. Because what we found out is that everybody's child has some kinds of need. And oftentimes the parents will use these sorts of kid-related programs as a sort of child care. So recruiting kids is super easy, but the volunteers is where you have to be a little more strategic. So a lot of our folks have come in through word of mouth. So a friend will tell a friend, and they get involved, and they love it, and then they tell their friends. But I'll also talk to the folks about how easy it is to be a part of what we're doing. You serve 1 day a week, 1 hour a week. So you pick a Tuesday or a Thursday, you're here for 1 hour, you work with the same kid every week, and this is for 1 semester commitment at minimum. And I will give you everything you need. I will educate you on how to work with kids. Tell me what grade level you're most comfortable with, and I can put you with a child in that grade. A lot of our tutors do not like to work with kids in higher grades, and I'm fine with that because most of our students come from the elementary school. So I have a ton of resources that I can share with them, and I sit down with the tutors and I'll talk to them about just really how easy it is. And if they're still kind of on the fence, then I'll invite them in just to shadow and see what is going on. Usually if they come and shadow, then they'll come and serve. I'm so available to them off-site as well as on-site. We meet and go to coffee and talk about what's going on with their students. And they pretty much have free reign. We play good cop, bad cop, and this is what I always tell them because discipline is an issue that they kind of want to be prepared for. So we play good cop, bad cop, and the tutors are always the good cops, and I'm the bad cop. So you just have fun with the kid, and if anything starts to go awry, then I'll step in, and you won't have to worry about that, so that we can keep the relationship between the student and the tutor or the mentor on a really positive note. For our elementary school kids, my recruiting for those kids will come from Britton Elementary, which is a neighborhood school here. So I'm in good with the principal and several of the teachers there. So I'll let them know, hey, our program is starting up on this date. Can I bring over some applications so you can give to your students? They can take them home, and then when the parents fill those out, then they send them back to the school, and I'll go and pick those up. After I get those applications, and I'll take a look at how many tutors I currently have, I know how many students I can take into the program. As we get more tutors, I'm able to open up more spots. The reason I do it that way, now not everybody does it this way, but the reason that I choose to do it that way is so that, one, I do not overload or stress out the tutor. Number two is so that I do not stress out the student. If one tutor has 5 kids, nobody's getting the attention that they need, and the tutor doesn't really feel like he or she is fulfilling the role that they signed up to play. So I want to keep them on a really positive, keep them in a positive environment. So at most they'll have 2 students. Now, I have some folks who come in and they've been educators. They're retired and they still have all of their skills and training. And so they feel comfortable taking more than 2, and they'll even ask me to give them more. And so for those folks, I feel fine doing that. But there's always the opportunity to adjust. So if there are more students than tutors, I always take what is left. So the kids who remain, they get to hang out with me, and then I'll work with them. And I have some things that I do to kind of keep everybody in a place where I can work with 2 or 3 students while 2 or 3 others are doing something independently. I have one-on-one conversations with folks in the congregation. I'll post flyers. The library has been a really good place to recruit students and mentors or tutors, because a lot of people frequent the library, and so I have a good connection there, and they allow me to post flyers there. So that's a good resource. And then I'm on Volunteer Match, all these different volunteer websites to recruit folks here, so that we can get them in the program to help these kids. So those are 2 of the recruiting kind of strategies. It's a little organic. Most of them are coming in because they have relationships with other people. And so those folks encourage them to be a part of what we're doing.